Hey guys, it is Monday here in West Virginia, and it is time for us to do our Mopar Monday, and we are bringing you another vintage Hot Wheels Dragstrip Demon from 2010, and this is Snake's Plymouth Arrow. So your Don Prudhomme Snake Plymouth Arrow. This is actually after he went from Mopar to Chevy, then back to Mopar. I think this is his first ride when he went back to Mopar, because after, I don't know if it was like 74 or something, he went to Chevy. He was driving the Monza and Vega Army funny cars, and then in 77, I think this is the first year he was back with Mopar. As I said, this is like a generation before me. I just love the cars from this era. So I don't know a lot about like what happened. Even the stuff in the 80s, I'm not so hip on all your statistics and who was who and who did what. Just I know in the 90s, like John Force pretty much ruled the game of NHRA funny car. But outside of that, I just admire these cars. But yeah, just going by like the story that Hot Wheels Dragstrip Demons tells us, you can see that they have Don Prudhomme's Snake CUDA, which is based, I think, on like a 73, 74 CUDA. I think it has the round tail lights. And then after that, it goes to the 75 Monza, and then I think there's 75 or 6 Vega, then this 77 Plymouth Arrow. So you can kind of piece it together that he changed manufacturers for a couple of years. So anyways, this is a very cool casting from Hot Wheels. This is the first appearance of this casting, actually. And it's one that only was done a couple of times in the Demons, and it kind of disappeared after that unless it made it to a convention or something. But I don't think it did. I think the only two is this one here, the Army Snake Arrow, and then Bucky's Arrow, the blue one. So, if there's more of them, let me know, but I think that's the only two. But anyways, this is number 9 of 25 of the 2010 set, and in this case, there wasn't much. They just started listing the 76 Chevy Monza funny car, the Tiki Warrior, and then the 77 Plymouth Arrow, Army Snake Arrow. So, that's pretty much it that we have here. A lot of licensing stuff on the back of this, and that's it. And then you can go to HotWheelsCollectors.com and such, and they have the emblem up there, which has a Vega funny car, which is pretty cool. This I've kind of already popped off the card, and these older premiums you can get off the card pretty nicely without really tearing the cards up. And with my vintage stuff like this, I try to save the cards for my own personal use. And then, as I said, like some people may like prefer them carded, and one day if I ever do get rid of them, they can re-glue these and you barely could tell. So anyways, this is a really cool casting once again. I'm going to try one of Action's Plymouth Arrows. Actually, the reason being is because I want a Kenny Bernstein car in my collection, and I would like it to be a funny car and not a rail job. And anyways, in the 70s, he ran an Arrow, so it's perfect. Plymouth Arrow. And the one from Action looks pretty good. It somewhat looks like it's lacking the dome for the front tires, and it's a little bit narrow compared to these guys. I think the Hot Wheels is actually more accurate than the Action, in my opinion, when it comes to the Arrow. Looking at pictures, I have never seen them side by side, but pretty soon I will have a Monza from Action. I got one for a pretty good price on eBay. It's the Brute Force Monza, and as I said, I really liked John Force in the 90s and such, and then all the cars, in my opinion, from the 80s and 90s all pretty much looked the same when it came to funny car, especially funny car. The pro stocks were somewhat different, but the only thing with style and class really were the super mods when they were basing them on classic cars. But yeah, the John Force Brute Force, and I got the orange one coming. So we'll see how well they did with it, and eventually I will probably get the Army Snake, Vega, and Monza, even though I'm more of a Mopar guy than Chevy nowadays, but it would still be nice to have all of them to kind of tell the history with them sitting next to each other. So as you can see, flip up body, nice detail on the engine. And the top half of this engine, I believe, is plastic. That's how they got a little bit more detail in the supercharger and the Hemi valve covers and such. And you can see that the chrome is a little bit more vibrant on the top of the motor than it is on the headers. So pretty nice looking car. And this is one of the only ones that I have so far that actually has white letters on the front runners, which is pretty cool. And this is running center line wheels all the way around. Nice detail on the grill tampo. That's exactly how the funny car would have been too, just a tampo. And tampoed tail lights. Very, very nicely done piece. And then next week we'll have more Dragstrip Demons for you guys. The one that we're going to have is a repeat. We actually looked at it already loose when we unboxed, I think it was a stacked deck, the 65 AWB Coronet. But we had the loose Hawaiian 69 Charger funny car of Roland Leon. And I was going to do his 72 with this other 69 that I have coming, but I ordered the 72, and when I got it, it has paint rash on the roof. I was more concerned about the rubber bands damaging it, but it has some paint rash, and that's one thing that I've been noticing a lot about some of this 100% stuff that I've been getting, 100% stuff and Legends stuff from the late 90s and early 2000s, that it's starting to develop paint rash. So that tells me that it's going to develop zinc rot in a few more years, and the casting's just going to crumble. So they're not made so well, or they're made nice and they're nicely detailed, but the quality of the components to make the die cast were not so good. So it's going to start rotting. So that's why anything with paint rash, usually I try to get rid of it or not even buy it. And I'll point that out because tomorrow we're going to do a 2 for Tuesday on these guys here. I know I've had a lot of people ask me about the history of those, where they came from, where they can get them, and things like that in comments on videos and on my IG pic. So I'm going to tell you guys all about those two tomorrow, and then I'll show you some of the rash that I'm talking about because this guy has it. This guy doesn't, fortunately. But we'll go over all that with you guys tomorrow. And then next week, we'll be back with the Hawaiian Charger, the 69. Unfortunately, we didn't get the 72. But we had the 69 with both wheel variants. I'm going to try to get the other stocks of Martin Cuda also this week. And show you guys both wheel variants in the old Dragstrip Demons. Because a lot of people didn't know about that. Unless you were around back then collecting, then you would have probably been hip to it. But there's a lot of really good stories behind those two series of Dragstrip Demons. There's actually a mistake where they used the same number twice in one of the, I think it was the 25, or no, it was actually the 30 car first year. They ran the same number twice, and then they forgot to do a number. So there's actually, I think, only like 29 of the 30 that were produced, and they used one number twice, and one number never appeared. And I can't recall which numbers they were. I'm going to have to look that up for you guys, but I can show you the wheel variants though next week, and I will do that. So enjoy the start to your week, and I'll be back tomorrow to give you guys some history on those two guys for our 2 for Tuesday. Thanks for watching.